Hello, travel lovers. I am Royanne De Silva, the Managing Director of Dream Aloud Travels. We are a luxury travel concierge specializing in personalized vacation planning. Today, we will be discussing two of our most requested destinations, Maldives versus Seychelles. And joining me for this discussion are two popular travel content creators, Marvin and Anne-Marie. They're popularly known on their YouTube channel, Lux Travel. They have over 15 years of experience in traveling the globe, and they visited 80 countries. That's pretty hard to beat because even I'm just at 72. So it's going to be a dynamic discussion to help you better decide which destination is perfect for your next trip. Marvin, Anne-Marie, welcome.
Hi, Ryan. Thank you. We're so excited to be here.
Hi, guys. I'm very excited as well. Looking forward to our discussion.
Awesome. Let's start. The location of these two countries. Anne-Marie, where exactly is Maldives and where exactly is Seychelles?
Great question. So the Maldives is south of India or Sri Lanka, whichever one you're familiar with. A little bit south of there, it's about 1,000 islands, beautiful coral atoll islands. While the Seychelles is off the coast of Southeast Africa, so maybe a little bit east of Kenya. So beautiful, beautiful 115 islands.
Perfect. And now that we know where they are, how about when are the best times to visit?
Okay, so the Maldives, best time to visit are November to April. And our last visit, we visited in November, and it was beautiful weather, pristine weather, not much rain. Now, if you visit during May to October periods, you have frequent monsoons. You could get lucky though, and especially near the end of the monsoon season in October, but you're really taking a risk there. Flip a coin.
Right.
And how about Seychelles?
So Seychelles, April and May, October and November, a really dry time. The water is mostly calm during that period. June, July, and August, that's the European summer season. It's very dry, but it's actually quite crowded. We went in September, and it rained a lot, especially in Mahé as well.
Right. So the other islands were sunny, and you never know what you're going to get. But I will say that the water is a little bit choppy during that time.
Yeah. So avoid December through March period.
Great advice. And in talking about location, best times, let's talk about traveling too. So you are located in US. How was your experience, first of all, traveling to Maldives? Which route did you take? Which airline did you take? Give us all the tips for that.
Well, everyone knows that Lux Travel, our favorite airline is Qatar Airways. So we flew through Doha. So you can connect through major U.S. cities or North American cities. So you can connect starting out at JFK in New York or Chicago, Miami, Los Angeles, any major city, Dallas, Houston, and fly maybe somewhere between 13 to 15 hours to Doha. And then you have another, give or take 4 to 5 hours, depending on wind conditions and flight conditions to either destination as well. So given some layover time, you're looking at about approximately 20 hours of flight time.
Yeah.
Definitely. And for Dream Aloud Travels, some of our clients, we plan double itineraries for them. So you can break up your trip by spending a few days, for example, in Doha, or spending a few days in Dubai. We have clients spending a few days in Turkey even, so that you have two vacations in one, whether you're traveling to any of the two destinations, Maldives or Seychelles.
And that's a great point. I realize I only spoke about Qatar Airways because it's my favorite, but obviously you could fly, Dream Aloud could connect you with Emirates, for example, going through Dubai, or you can go Etihad through Abu Dhabi, Turkish Airways, or European carriers as well. But I think the most the easiest way to get there is through one of the Middle Eastern carriers. So you go through one of the big three would be your best options.
Great advice. Now it's a pandemic, which a lot of persons are a bit hesitant to travel. I've been to both the destinations since the pandemic, and so have you. We've seen your YouTube videos on especially Waldorf Astoria that has almost 250,000 views on YouTube. If you haven't seen that so far, you need to stop and watch that video because it's so good. But how was your experience traveling since the pandemic? There are specific entry regulations, and it's important to say that that is changing frequently, which is why it's important to have a travel advisor. But how was it for you? Do you think it was worth the amount of effort that it took for planning, for doing the health declaration forms, the PCR test? How was that whole experience like?
Okay. So I would say for the Maldives, so PCR test like up to 72 hours prior to your flight, so prior to your departure. So once you do that, it's a little bit of a nail biter, making sure that you get the results back in time, but everything came back through perfectly. There is a questionnaire that you need to fill out. So a health questionnaire comes with a QR code. It only takes about 10 minutes. So you got to do that prior to your departure flight. And, once you got to the Maldives, everything was great. I mean, we didn't have to retest. I mean, we got to a resort and it's almost like you're in your little bubble, I would say. But yeah, I mean, we felt perfectly safe, and everyone was, take the utmost care and take COVID seriously, of course. So we felt very safe in the Maldives.
I'll just add a couple of things. We went to the Maldives late last November, and it was 72 hours then. And then now we're in November 2021, and it's 96 hours for the PCR test. So, as Ryan said, the conditions and the requirements change quite frequently, and we don't know what it's gonna be when you're watching this video. Hopefully, there will be none as well. One thing I'll point out about the Maldives, though, is the crew, the staff of the Waldorf Maldives, for example. They all stayed on property, so they were not traveling to and from other islands as well. So we felt very safe in the bubble.
Absolutely, yes. Now, Seychelles, similar, we had to do our COVID test. That one was 72 hours prior when we did it, so we just came back from there. The questionnaire is a little bit more lengthy and takes more time, so I advise that as soon as you receive your results back, you go ahead and complete that questionnaire. So maybe it's about 30 minutes, but you've got to upload all your documents. So not only your COVID results, but also with your accommodations, every single one, especially if you're going to be changing islands, you got to upload all of that. You got to upload your return flight, everything else. And sometimes there might be a glitch in the app. So you may have to start over.
Oh, yeah.
So just making sure that you're prepared. But I mean, once you get that, you get the QR code. Once you get to the Seychelles, you got to show the QR code. And then you have to present your documents again. So you may want to print them out so they can see them once you get to the Seychelles. But then similar to the Maldives, I mean, once you're on the resort, I mean, there are a lot of protocols in terms of COVID as well, making sure that you feel safe.
You want to talk about our snafu with the cost?
Oh yeah, the cost. So this is the caveat. So if you are within 9 hours of your flight, you have to pay like the express price. So it's like 70 euros, excuse me, versus if you were definitely a day before, then it's like 10 euros, I believe.
Yeah.
10 euros.
So that's the entry requirements to require. So you could save yourself some euros or dollars or currency if you do it on time and not waited like us, like 3 hours before a flight. We're like, oops. So that's that.
Awesome secrets. Thank you for that. I'm sure our audience is like saying, wow, we needed to know all of this. And it gets even better because now we're going to be talking about the culture of both countries because they have a lot to offer and are actually a lot different than you would see. So I'll start it off. I remember my first trip to Maldives. The first thing that surprised me was that it is an Islamic society. So one of the things is that you can't bring alcohol into the island. How was that like for you with Maldives? Were you aware that they were even an Islamic country?
Yes, that is so interesting, Roanne. I have to tell you, the very first time we went to the Maldives, so we've been twice now, but the very first time we went, we weren't aware. So, we like to stop at the duty-free shop and pick up some hydration.
Oh yeah.
So he picked up a couple bottles of champagne, and we got to the airport, and they're like, "Oh, you can't bring this into the country." We're like,
Nope.
"No." So, but you know what? They're so good. I mean, they pack it up and they store it in a locker for you. And then once you're leaving, then they give it back to you and you can take it back with you.
So the second time we went, I did not bring any duty-free liquor because I knew.
Yeah.
But I've heard stories though of some folks bringing some mini bottles, but definitely won't be able to bring any duty-free big bottles.
Right. But yeah, you can, the hotels, of course, you can have alcohol on the hotel, but I don't think it's a normal thing off the hotel to have alcohol.
Yeah, I was gonna say, and with that rule comes an interesting or the cost for alcohol on the island, which we'll get into as one of our last points about the cost, because I'm sure you're wondering how do they compare? But because of this rule and the restrictions, of course, it's gonna be a pretty penny when you get to the resort.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, absolutely.
But I also want to share a story about the Maldivian culture because Mahe is the capital. And what a lot of persons don't know is that when you get to the Maldives, you will have a yacht or a seaplane to your resort, which is more than likely on an entirely private island. So on the island, you'll have the staff of that resort, but you won't necessarily have the local culture. I remember once I was doing a Dream Aloud Travels initiative. So I went to a local island to an orphanage, and it was such a beautiful thing to witness in terms of seeing how humble the people are, seeing the dress. Of course, they were fully covered. It's not like the Maldives that you see where everybody's walking around in bikinis. The locals are very conservative but super friendly, and you just feel the warm island spirit there. So that was something that stood out for me. In terms of the Seychelles culture, a lot of people perhaps may not know that they were once a French colony, so they speak French. How was that for you, and what were your impressions about the culture in the Seychelles?
Yes, yeah. So the Seychelles, just really a diverse amalgamation of different races. So, you have your Africans, Asians, Europeans. I mean, it's just a beautiful melting pot, I thought. Like you said, I think it's majority even Catholic there. So, it's different, right? In terms of how you roam the island, all the beaches are public and you can wear your, full bathing suit. There are no restrictions there. But yeah, culture wise, it was.
From a cultural perspective, one difference though is that you're allowed to roam many islands while in the Seychelles. So we actually were on 3 islands, well actually 4 if you count Eden Island, but three of the islands as well. And you got to see a little bit interact more with the locals. So that's one big difference which we really enjoyed versus being on a luxury resort. We love our luxury resorts, don't get us wrong. But we also like interacting with the local people and get a flavor, and even some of the local cuisines and so forth. We had a much better opportunity to do that in the Seychelles versus in the Maldives. And prior to my trip, I was pronouncing it Seychelles, but I was corrected pretty early on, Seychelles.
Yes. And I will just give another special thing when it comes to their culture, but the music in Seychelles, I'm from Jamaica, so of course reggae is popular, and they have this Seychelles reggae, which you have to ask the locals about whenever you visit. It is worth listening to. It's so beautiful. And music is just something that persons travel for. And to have that experience, I think, is a beautiful thing. And now we're going to head into one of my favorite topics as a luxury travel advisor, and that's the hotels. So, Maldives hotels versus Seychelles hotels. I think the biggest difference are the overwater bungalows. Now, as of now, Seychelles still do not have any overwater bungalows. I think that would be a great idea for a hotel to start doing that there. But as of now, no. In terms of, let's start with Maldives first. I know that you both did Waldorf Astoria. That's one of our Dream Aloud Travels partners. How was that hotel experience like for you?
So yeah, the whole experience was phenomenal. From the moment you arrive at the airport, it was like no care in the world. I mean, they take all your bags and all your worries were left behind somewhere. So yeah, I mean, you got to the resort and
Before the resort, though, you get to the airport and you're met at the airport, right?
yeah, you met it.
And then you're transported in this one, by a yacht, not a seaplane. And we happened to be the only persons who were arriving at that time. It was maybe 7 in the morning or so, quite early. And we're on a 70-foot yacht as we're transferred over from the airport to the hotel. But continue.
Yes, so his cup of tea.
Yeah.
You notice that we couldn't leave the yacht out.
No.
So yeah, a beautiful yacht transported us to the hotel, and you're just greeting everyone. They're all outside waiting for you, waving you, welcoming you. Oh my, just so beautiful. So you get to the resort, they take you around on the golf course, showing you everywhere, take you to your room, and the room is just beautiful. The whole
Oh, sorry, I keep interrupting you. We saw our bags at the airport, and we did not see our bags again until they were in the room.
That's true.
So they took care of everything. So not here in the room, but continue. I'm sorry.
You get to the room. The room, I mean, is huge, very spacious. I mean, you have your indoor, you have your outdoor living. I mean, you have your plunge pool. I mean, and then this beautiful lagoon just surrounding your room. I mean, yeah, totally blissful paradise.
Oh yeah, and there are 3 main types of accommodations at the Waldorf Maldives. So there's the full overwater villas, where you're actually in the sea. There's the partial, where your villa is partially in the sea, but you're also on the land. That's what we stayed at first. Emery didn't want to be over the full overwater. I wanted to do that, but Emery said, nah. All right, and then there's also beach villas that you just walk out and you're basically on the beach as well. So we wanted to have different experiences, so we tried 2 types of accommodations. We were there for 9 nights, so it was a pretty long stay. So we stayed 5 nights in the Reef Villa and 4 nights in like the beach villa. So really enjoyed it as well, and they're quite different. And we have a video as well where we went through each, the differences and the similarities of each. So for the YouTube viewers, we'll put a link in the description so you can check that out.
Absolutely.
Awesome. And I think, so looking at it, Maldives is known for their luxury resorts, but I think the service for me was what stood out the most. I remember, like, just vivid in my head when we were arriving on our yacht. We stayed at Anantara on one of my many trips to the Maldives, and as like in the horizon you can spot the island coming and you see some hands waving at you. I don't know if it was the same when you were there, but they have a set of greeters that literally wave until you arrive there. And I remember when we were leaving, it was the same way. So they had a set of greeters and they were waving until the island disappeared in the horizon. And for me, that was just such an impeccable way to greet anybody who comes to your, home. Just that feeling of being relaxed. I loved it. I remember I was there and we were celebrating a birthday, and I'm big on celebrating at 12 a.m., like as soon as the birthday begins. And I had a cake and champagne at 12:01 a.m. outside of my room. So that small attention to detail, I just feel like Maldives is the ultimate pampering location, destination if you're just really overwhelmed with work, or if you've been stressed out during the whole pandemic and you really just want to recharge and to feel like royalty, then Maldives would be a no-brainer.
Yeah. And talking about service as well and the genuine care, it's the greeting of the hands over the heart as well. It's just so welcoming and so warm. So that always stands out to us as well.
Nice. And we could talk about hotels in Maldives for the whole day because we love them, but we have to talk about Seychelles because they're different but still amazing in their own right. I mean, even Prince William, they honeymooned in Seychelles. A lot of celebrities choose it because it's just a peaceful, secluded atmosphere, but it's very unpretentious. I think persons who want something that's very close to nature, they enjoy seeing the different landscapes, having the option to do hiking if they feel to do so, having the option to interact with animals, they would choose Seychelles over that. So how was your experience on or in Seychelles?
So yes, all you just said is so accurate. So when I think of the Seychelles, I mean it's a great mix of larger islands with multiple resorts, and you have the smaller ones. Maybe you have a single resort. You mentioned, I think Prince Charles stayed at one of the smaller ones, so with the only one resort, I think it was. But I mean, for us, we stayed at Manga House. The first resort was at the Manga House, and it was just absolutely beautiful.
Spa time.
Service, the people. I mean, just genuine. You just felt like you were like at home. Everyone was genuinely happy, and it was just beautiful to be there. But then we also had the opportunity to tour around the island. So, we go to the various beaches, which I'm probably going to talk about beaches soon as well. But I mean, they have a plethora of beaches. So you can explore. The hiking, we didn't end up doing the hiking. I think it rained the day when we intended to do so. But there's a local market. There is a botanical garden we went to check out as well. So it's a really good mix of relaxing at the hotel, and then you can also experience the rest of the country.
Yeah, for the accommodations, Anne-Marie mentioned, we stayed at Manga House, Seychelles, and that's like a 45 room and suite property, so very boutique, and it's new. It's been open only a few months, I think July or August this year. So we like staying at new resorts. So it was pretty nice staying at a new one. Actually, we stayed at 2 new resorts, and then we stayed at another resort called Lascaux Resort Marina and Spa, and it was designed by, if you're into yachting, there's a winch designers. They designed a lot of interiors for the yacht, so it was very, very pristine. I would think that's one of my top. It's hard. I've seen a lot of really, really nice suites and hotel rooms and villas, and the design in that one is really, really special. So those would be 2 properties to stay at. It's very small as well. That one is only like 25 or 20 something rooms and suites. So really nice. Also, for those in the Seychelles, you have resorts that sit on their own islands as well. So there's a Hilton La Brise that comes to mind. There's the Six Senses Seychelles, and others. There's a Four Seasons. So you can get an island getaway in the Seychelles. So I think they're both destinations, but especially the Seychelles has a varied accommodation for the type of traveler you are, whether or not you like larger hotels, smaller ones on larger inhabitant islands, smaller islands. You can get a big mix. So that's one key difference in the Seychelles versus the Maldives.
Well said. And I will just plug that at most of these 5-star hotels, if you book through Dream Aloud Travels, you will get a complimentary upgrade and VIP perks. So definitely reach out if you are looking to visit one of these destinations.
All about upgrades. So that's
Yes, you know how it goes. We have you covered. But Anne Marie, you just pointed out to some of the activities on both of the islands. And let's just talk a little bit about that. First, with the Maldives, a lot of people think it's just sun and sea. But I think most of the hotels have done a great job at personalizing the activity options for the guests that are there. I mean, I had clients and they had a beautiful sunken sand experience. They have I did whale shark diving. Snorkeling is always a beautiful thing to do, but I was not bored. A lot of people think you go to Maldives and you'll be bored. I had something to do every day. The hotels will have different restaurants that you can try if you want to have culinary experiences, the underwater restaurants. I know Waldorf, they have the treetop restaurants. So I wasn't bored. How was your experience in Maldives?
No, there was no boredom. Absolutely not. So, the snorkeling anytime you want, snorkeling right outside of your room. Just really convenient. Plus, we did fishing trip. So that was my first time really going to fishing.
Yeah.
So we did that fishing trip and we caught plethora of fish.
Whoa. Red snapper too.
Yes.
Yum.
And the deal is if you whatever fish you catch, they will actually cook them for you.
In the style you like.
In the style you want.
Uh-huh.
So, they had cooked them for us the next day. You can do also parasailing. There's a lot of water activities that you can do. You can go to whale watching, dolphin watching. There's a lot. They're free snorkels for you, by the way. So even if you don't bring your own snorkel, there's also smart snorkel there for you.
And they'll do a beach escape for you as well. If you want to just get away and get on, you're already on an island, but if you want to go to an even smaller sandbar or island, they'll do a really nice beach escape for you and set up a nice lunch or dinner or drink or whatever you desire.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And also for activities, there's never a wrong time to go to the spa for my ladies or men. I know Maldives is known for their overwater spa experiences. I remember getting a massage and you're looking down and the floor is glass and you're seeing the fish. And for me, that was so relaxing. They have 24 karat gold facials. As I said, the level of pampering that you will get in the Maldives is unparalleled. So if that's what you're looking for, then that can definitely be on your list.
And I'll just say, when we were at the Waldorf, they really had a schedule of activities. There were so many things to do. We couldn't do a fraction of what, and we're just touching the surface of what you can do. Yeah. So it's a lot to do in the Maldives. 9 days, we weren't bored at all.
Right. And we did experience the restaurant, the terrace restaurant as well.
Yeah.
Terrace restaurant as well. So the one in the tree that you mentioned. So that was a really beautiful experience.
I'll talk about that a little bit. So they have 7 bamboo pots as well, and they have the cuisine changes, and they have a chef selection, if you will. So I think it was a 7-course or 9-course meal, a 7-course meal, and they had varying things. Depending on when you go, then the menu will change as well. But that was very special. We got to do that at sunset as well, and it was very private. It was just us 2 and 1 of 7 seatings. Word to the wise, if you're going to the Waldorf Maldives, you want to reserve that restaurant as soon as you reserve your trip, because they get booked out.
Yes, and I love how you said restaurant reservations, because that's also something that we do for our clients at Dream Aloud Travels, so you won't have to worry about doing that. And now let's talk about the activities when you visit Seychelles. So you mentioned the local market. Of course, one of my favorite things to do was to rent a car and just drive around and go beach hopping. That for me was super fun. You have the coconut plantation. I know that you got to see the giant tortoises, right? How was that experience?
They love him.
Well, what you do is they're very gentle. So you feed them leaves, and then they'll eat from your hand, and then you scratch their necks underneath their necks
He's
and
better with
above their head,
They're
mine.
like
and they like that. So it's like a small massage for them. So it's nice interacting with them. At first, they look scary because they can be so large, but they're really, really gentle creatures. So we got a chance. They're pretty much on most of the islands. So whether or not you're in Mahe, you could experience that at the botanical gardens.
Mhm.
And if you're in one of the smaller islands like Ladigue, a very small island, sometimes you just see them riding the bicycle. If you're riding a bicycle around the island, you see them on the just on the street on the side of the road.
We also did the beach hopping. Loved it. Loved it. Loved it. Loved it. So I mean, some of the most beautiful beaches I've seen in the world there. Some of them have strong currents, so you definitely have to be careful. Yeah. So others, it's very calm, and you can swim and you can snorkel as well.
Beaches are really, really pristine. The water clear, turquoise water, crystal clear. They have these giant boulders on multiple beaches. Some of them are a little bit pinkish, or they can be a little bit dark, depending on how the sun hits it and the time you are. Part of the white sand. So it's really, really pristine beaches. Really, really enjoy it.
And then we also went to Valle de Mai in Holland. So they're known for huge, the biggest, I guess the biggest.
Yeah.
And the heaviest.
Like 50 pounds,
Yeah.
20 kilos, 25 kilos, something like that.
Yeah. Coco de Mer, it's like a nut. So that was pretty interesting. So went through there and we did you can actually wander by yourself, or you can get a guide. We got a guide, very knowledgeable. So it was pretty cool.
And it's funny because the female species of this shape's like a lady with hips, and then the male version actually looks like a man. I'll probably put a couple pictures so you can see what I'm talking about.
Perfect. But I love that we were able to just dive into the different activities that are available in both countries. As we said, no matter which one you choose, you will not be bored. You'll always have a list of things to do to fit your specific personality, especially if you're traveling with kids. A lot of the islands are very family friendly as well. So that you'll be covered, no worries. Now we're going to jump into, before that, Marvin.
I was about to say, I forgot to mention, the ferry system in the Seychelles. You can go island hopping quite easily. And obviously, you can always charter a boat on either in the Seychelles or Maldives. You can charter a yacht or a boat or get around that way. But in the Seychelles, they have scheduled ferries that actually run to different islands. So you could decide to go to different islands on different days, and they're organized tours as well.
Awesome. Thank you for that. And I know we have a lot of foodies in our community. So we're going to talk a little bit about food. And I think the biggest thing with Maldives is that based on their location, their cuisine is influenced a lot by Indian flavors. So did you get to try, what was your favorite dish when you visited the Maldives?
Ooh, my favorite dish. Oh my goodness, that's hard.
Yeah.
It was good food. I mean,
I'll say this. I'll say there was a restaurant manager at the Waldorf Maldives that heard that I enjoyed Indian cuisine, and actually one morning he actually made a breakfast for us that had like dosa and a lot of different Indian tasting. I think that was unexpected, and I think that's just an example of the staff listening to their guests and trying to anticipate their needs. I could look back and tell you everything that was in there. I remember the taste, I remember the experience. I just don't remember the names of everything that was on it. You know?
Yeah, the flavors are very nice, but yeah, I don't recall all the names either. And fish. We eat a lot of fish, but the fish was just so fresh. And tuna. They have a lot of tuna as well. So it was very fresh, and I think I love the fish and even the produce as well.
Yeah, but the in the Maldives though, the Waldorf, they had like 7 or so restaurants. So different international choices. So in addition to the main restaurant that had the breakfast as well, they had the Japanese restaurant that's open now, a Chinese restaurant. They had a vegetarian type, healthy type food restaurant. They had the Terra, which was the bamboo fine dining experience. They had a couple pub type restaurants, Australian influence ones. So it's something for everyone. Oh, the pizzas were awesome too. That they had this special oven from Italy making those. So the cuisine was really. It's hard to say what the favorite was. Now, the one thing though I really enjoyed. I'm not a big buffet person, but their breakfast buffet was pretty special at the Waldorf. It was so many choices, and you got to try so many different types of food as well. So that was nice.
Nice. And I like how you mentioned the international cuisine, because I remember when I was at Anantara, they had a Thai restaurant and the chefs were flown from Thailand. Like, they get the best of the best. And I remember we ordered level 1 spicy in Thai food. And after like 2 bites, I was like, oh no, it's too spicy. That's how you know it's authentic Thai food, because authentic Thai food, even if it's level 1, it's going to be spicy. So I knew it was right, but it was just delicious, even though, you know, your nose is running and you're still eating it because it's so good. But the food was just delicious. And talking about Seychelles, for sure, they have the Creole cuisine, which means a mixture of flavors. And the Creole fish was my favorite. How was the dining experience like for you in the Seychelles?
So I think we had really nice cuisine as well. Manga House, we had a really special Creole dinner.
Muta.
I mean,
It's a restaurant name.
Yes, I mean the salad. We had a heart of palm salad. The fish with king snapper. I mean, just delicious. So yeah, the flavors there. So the good news, the thing about Seychelles is you're not only limited to like the resort food though. So we also had food outside of the resorts at some of the restaurants. And that was really, really nice as well. So we really enjoy those flavors. Sometimes they're very spicy because, you know, we do like a little bit of heat. So that was nice.
And for the guests who don't like to venture out and try local cuisine, they have international cuisines as well. Like, for example, at Mango House, they had a really awesome Japanese restaurant. And they also had an Italian restaurant with a chef that is from Italy as well. Very, very nice. And he has this famous drop me down
dessert. Yeah.
Dessert, yeah. So it's his take on the tiramisu as well. So that was good. But the Anne-Marie mentioned the what's the salad? The palm salad?
Yeah,
heart of palm. It's called a millionaire salad. It's actually a very special salad because it's a special type of palm. And they have to actually take the center of the tree once it's cut down to get to it, and it's very small. So we got to experience that. So that was nice. So that was very special that they did for us as well, because it's not easily available to get to. So it was a Creole dish that we got to try. So that was something that was special for us. Thank you, Chef Ralph, if you're listening to this.
Hi, Chef Ralph. Wow, I'm already salivating thinking about food. But I think we've actually touched on most of the topics so far. We've spoken about the location, we've spoken about traveling, the entry requirements, the hotels, the activities, the food. I think the last thing that persons are thinking about is definitely the cost of it. So do you have to be a millionaire to visit Maldives or the Seychelles?
Well, it depends on how you'd like to visit, right? So if you want to go to an uber luxury resort such as the Waldorf Astoria or the Ritz, or in the lowest of seasons, maybe the price is going to be in the maybe $1,500 and up. And there's really a range per night. So really it's going to be for uber luxury hotel resort. It's going to be somewhere between $1,500 to 3 or 4 thousand, and it also depends on the type of room that you get. Not be so valuable to work through some of those details. In terms of the Seychelles, honey, what about cost for that? What do you think?
Well, I think you may be able to find more, more reasonable. 'Cause I think you actually have to be a millionaire to go to to these countries. No, the answer is no. I think there's something for everyone, for most persons, anyhow. So I mean, Seychelles, I think you can find things from Airbnbs, right?
All the way
All
up.
the way up to the ultra luxury as well. So, maybe starting, you can have luxury in like the $400 a night, or you can have luxury at the $1,000 per night, right? So I think there's a range, and then you can have even below that, you can find Airbnbs that are really nice and really that you at reasonable cost for persons who want to go that route as well.
Yeah, both destination has they have a lot of choices, a lot of different options as well. So it actually takes some effort to really decide on where to stay in these destinations, because there are a lot of choices and you have to select carefully and then be able to decide. A hotel may look really nice in pictures, but where is it located? How are you going to get there? What else is around the hotel? How do they treat you as a guest? What are you looking for? If you're going to be island hopping and your hotel is on the other side of the island and you're planning to island hop every day, you're going to have a problem, right? Well, you're going to be traveling a lot more than you desired to get to the ferry or the airplane to do the island hop.
Yeah. And as far as getting to your hotel, once you get to the main island of Mahe, in the Seychelles, I mean, it's just a local car service that you can, you don't have to do the yacht similar to the Maldives or even a seaplane or anything. You can do a helicopter, I guess, between islands if you wanted to island hop, or the ferry that Marvin talked about earlier. But then you don't have that additional cost in the Seychelles.
So from a cost I think from a summary perspective, if cost is your main objective, to have luxury at a lower cost, Seychelles may be a good option for you, or a better option.
Agreed.
Obviously, depending on the hotel you go to. Now, if you're really trying to find the uber luxurious hotels, I think Maldives would definitely have more choices, but Seychelles has a few as well.
Wow, I'm impressed. You can both have my job. You sound like travel advisors. Wow. But I think you did excellent at just breaking down the different points. And that's a part of my day-to-day responsibilities with my clients, breaking it down based on budgets. Marvin, you did great with the Maldives. And normally, an overwater bungalow that doesn't have a private pool will range from like $700 to $1,000 US. If you're looking for one with a private pool, $1,500 to $2,000. Anne-Marie, you are spot on. You can get a 5-star hotel in Seychelles for $400 per night. One of my biggest advice, though, to my clients is that if you can do a package with the meals included, especially for the Maldives, because everything is imported, the alcohol, everything. So if you can get a package that has everything included from the beginning, including the transfers as well, from the airport, the yachts. But that's something that you have to ask from the beginning. And that's something I go through with my clients to tell them all the cost from the beginning. They know what they're getting themselves into. So it's not that things are just sprung up as you go on, and you can make an informed decision of which destination is right. But I do think that Seychelles is a more affordable, luxurious destination than the Maldives, but you can only do both of them once, right? So I think just do it well, do it luxuriously, and make the best memories that you can in whichever destination it is that you decide on.
And I'll tell you, both are amongst our favorite countries, and we plan on returning to both.
Yeah.
I agree. And I think we've touched on everything. If persons have any questions that they want to ask, they can comment below, and I'm sure we'll be happy to get back to them on it. Anne-Marie, Marvin, do you have any last words?
Both are beautiful, and you're going to be happy no matter what you choose.
Oh yeah.
Yes. So, go ahead.
No, that's it.
Yeah.
That's it for me. I've spoken enough.
Yeah.
Yes, it was an exciting
It was
discussion.
a really nice time talking with you today. We really enjoyed it.
Oh yeah, this was lovely. Again, we have lots to share. I know Ryan has a lot of experience, so she can guide you as well. But also, don't forget, if you have any questions for us, please send us a note as well. Leave a comment in our video. We're gonna post this both on IG and on YouTube as well. So happy travels, guys.
Happy travel. So we'll have both of our contact information, or Instagram. Everything will be below for you to see, and we will see you soon. So safe travels, and until next time.
For watching, everyone, remember to love yourself, love each other, and gratitude for everything under the sun.
One love.